So the very first thing that you are going to see when you logged into the portal, okay, you should see this pop up on the left. Okay, the pop-up is going to read the American Rescue Plan Act, Round 1, Stabilization, Installment 3, and so on and so on. So you can click Proceed to Grant Application to get to the survey or application. Or if you did not get the pop-up, or if you click Close when you get the pop-up on your screen, from the left corner of your screen, you will see where it says ARPA Round 1, Installment 3, and that's where you'll need to click to fill out the application. Again, you can do it from the pop-up, or you can do it from the common task, okay? Because I have received a couple of calls from a few people who did not get the pop-up, but they did have the link. So that is the best way to get to the actual application. Okay, now once you are in the application, the next thing you're going to see, I skipped the first the first part of it because it's only thing it does is show the provider's name and the provider's provider ID. So
I'm sorry, Hubert.
Go ahead.
It's Amy. Could I ask you to go back one screen? I just wanted to get a picture of where that was, that they could locate it if they don't do it as soon as the pop-up comes up. Thank you.
No problem.
Okay, all good. Thank you.
All right, perfect. Okay, so yeah, so this is the first part of the application where you are going to fill out your status. Okay, the first question, again, if you, as you know, you can do this with me. That is the purpose of this demo. Go ahead and follow along and try to do everything here so we can get you all submitted and get everything in so we can start processing your application. Okay, so first thing is your program operating under the same license number as listed as listed above. Again, I'm not going to show that because that's another provider. So for most of you, this is going to be a yes. Okay, so we're going to click yes. And as you click yes, you are going to notice that the box changes. So when you complete the application, if you still have these red boxes, that means that your application is not fully completed and there could be a problem. You need to go back and answer the question. The second question, what is the current status of your program? Most of you are going to be open. Now, you can say close. However, if you are closed for good, if you are not going to open again, you will not be qualified for this grant. But if you are closed due to COVID, or if you can provide the reason why you are closed, then we can look at that and be able to determine if you still qualify. But if you close and you will not be opening, you will not be qualified for this grant, okay, for the third round. Again, this is the option here, permanently closed. And if you are permanently closed, again, you are not eligible. But if you temporarily closed, you just got to give us an explanation of why you are temporarily closed for a week, 2 weeks, a day, or whatever the case may be. And then we'll proceed and process your application. Have you had your contract terminated for cause? And again, this would be no. Okay. And have you implemented policies in line with guidance and orders and from federal, state, and local? Again, this is something else that you all are already doing. If you are contracted with us and your license is valid, we are certain you have implemented the right policies. Okay. Have you reduced staff? Okay. Or reduced staff salaries since the initial application? Again, you can say yes or no. If it's yes, you're going to explain to us why did you have to reduce staff or why did you have to reduce salaries? Okay. And we'll hope that that answer is no, that you have not reduced staff. Again, I know I'm looking this way because I have two screens. So just forgive me if you think some may think I'm not doing this, but all right. So have you provided relief from copay and tuition payment for struggle families to the greatest extent possible? You're going to say yes or no. If you did, you're going to say yes. If you didn't, if you did, you're going to say yes. If you didn't, say no. Yeah. So so if it's yes, you click yes. If it's no, so if you did not, click no. You did, and everything that you answer here during the time that we are going to monitor you or audit you, you will have to provide that proof. That if you did provide relief to parent, you need to have proof and show us exactly how you did that, and so we can make sure that everything is good accordingly. All right. Another thing I did not talk about: if you are confused about a question, you can click this option here, right, and it'll give you more detail more details around the actual question, right? So you can have clear understanding as to what is being asked, okay? All right, so that's the first part, all right? And now we're going to go to section 3, which is where I get the most questions, okay? All right, so here, very, very important. If you spent any of the money from ARPA, from the installment 2 or installment 1, okay, you need to put that information here. For example, which I'll show you below once I get there. So this provider, let's say this provider, for whatever reason, let's see how much money they received. They were supposed to receive about $25,728, and we've already paid them $17,152. Okay, so the provider now is going to now let us know how they spent the money that they received for the second installment. Now, there is a caveat that we didn't have in the first application. During the first application, we told you you had to fill out the money that would equate to the amount we gave you, right? For example, I'll give you all an example to make it very simple math. So the first installment, first time, if you receive $90,000, we make it simple, $30,000 each installment, okay? So the first installment, you received $30,000. And let's say you spent $20,000 from that $30,000, okay? So when you reported that the first time, you would report $20,000, which means that you still have $10,000 left that you need to report on from the money that we've given you, okay? Now it's time for you to do your second survey, which is this one. So now you need to let us know that how you spent the $30,000 we just gave you for the second installment and the $10,000 that was left over from the first installment. Okay, all right. So I'm going to say that again. So if you receive $30,000, again, to make the math a simple math, and you spent $20,000 from the first $30,000 that was given to you. You have $10,000 left over, and you did not tell us that you spent it the first time. Now, this time around, you need to let us know how you spent the last $10,000 and the new $30,000 we just gave you. Now, to make the things a little bit easier for you, you do not have to let us know how you spend the whole $30,000 at one time if you didn't spend it. If you spent only the last $10,000 and you still have $30,000 left, it's okay. But we need to know exactly how you are spending the money, because that's how we're going to know how to monitor you, okay? Now, as you all know, you still have till September 2023 to spend the entire grant. Again, for some of you, you probably didn't spend a lot of the money. Some of you are waiting for more to give maybe bigger bonus or whatever the case may be. It's okay, it's understandable. However, you still need to spend the money by September 2023. Okay, so I kind of give this example, and I want to make sure that everyone understands, because that is where I get the most questions, right? Before that, we were telling everyone, go ahead and fill out the application just based on the money we've given you for that last for the last payment. Now it's the money we gave you for the last payment plus the money that you had left over from the first time we gave you the first check. Now, if you receive $30,000, if you were approved for $30,000, you spend the first $30,000, no problem. It's okay. The next time you need to let us know how you are spending the next $30,000. And then now that we're going to give you this last amount, we're going to do another survey that you're going to say how you spent the last $30,000. Okay, the final $30,000. I hope that was clear, but if anyone has questions about that, we'll answer them in a little bit later. I can go back to the application to answer your question, okay? So for this one, to make it simple math, because I didn't want to use my calculator, I'm just gonna say this person only used, I know the math is like, I think it's 6,000, but I'm gonna put 4,000. The next thing that is very important, that you need to show that you spent 0 in these other categories to move forward with the application. If for whatever reason you leave one blank, I'm going to do that now, and I did not put anything here, right? It's not going, once I'm done with the application, it's not going to let me submit it. I'm going to leave it blank for now so you can see what happened. Again, have funds been used, or do you plan to use funds for business expenditures prior to March 11, 2021? Okay, this is for those of you who wants to spend money from prior to March 11, 2021, because we know, DL know there's a somewhat, I guess the pandemic is somewhat over, but there was a pandemic that was going on where some of you struggled to do whatever you needed to do and had to probably borrow money or do something extra, right? This is where you can kind of reimburse yourself, right? For the money that you spent prior to 2021. Again, if there is something that you did prior to that time, you need to actually keep the receipt or keep notes of what that money is for that you are replacing. So when we ask you during the audit, what was that you spent? We know what it is and we can actually track that, okay? So I'm going to say no to make this a simple process. All right. And if you, as from what like I was saying earlier, the first thing you're going to see is I don't have an option to submit. And the next thing you're going to see is, which is where I get my second most questions, the remaining balance. It is not accurate. I'm going to say this again. The remaining balance you are seeing, it's not accurate to the balance that you should have remaining. Why? Because when DL push out this application, they didn't do the math correctly when they put out the application. What they did is they used the amount paid minus the amount spent to give you a remaining balance. That is incorrect. Okay, so if you again, let me go back to my $30,000 math again. If you receive $30,000 the first time, you receive $30,000 the second time, you have $30,000 left. It's still 3 installments. So however way that you do your math, you're still going to be owed this last $30,000 from that example. Again, if it's 12,000, it's the same thing. If it's 100,000, whatever the amount is, it's still break into 3 halves. I mean, into 3 portions. Okay. So now the amount you're going to see here, again, I'm going to say this again because I received a lot of questions about that. It is not accurate. On our end, we can see that it's correct, but DL is still working on fixing this issue to make sure that it shows up correctly. Now, once you submit,
God.
Here. All right, once you submit, I'm sorry about that, everyone. Once you submit the application, everything will be corrected from the back end as far as the money that you have remaining. Okay. Again, I'll take questions around that if anyone is confused about that once we're done with the actual presentation. Okay, so again, once you're ready and you put the amount you spent, you should have an option to submit. And because I missed this question, I don't have the button. And as soon as I type something here, you notice now I have a place where I can sign my name and I can check this box to say that everything is good to go. And for me, I'll type my name and then I'm not going to submit this because that's an actual provider's application. So I won't do that. I'll let them submit it. But now I can actually go back and submit this application. Okay. And once you submit your application, Sandra will receive it and they will approve it. And we typically pay within about 2 weeks, okay? And sometimes earlier than that, right? Sometimes we can pay earlier, depends on the time everything falls, right? The time that you actually submit your application. But normally once you send your application in and it's approved, give us about 2 weeks, right? To be able to pay you, okay? And if you receive direct deposit, it will be direct deposited into your account. If you receive check, it will be a check or whatever the way that you get paid, you will see that in that format, okay? All right, so I hope I was clear enough, but if I was not, I'm going to open the floor for questions. I'm going to start with the question in the chat first. And before I start asking questions, I'm going to scroll up to the second part of the application right here. And I guess I can't see any of the questions. Let me try to find them. All right. What if the school is still open, but will close next month? That is a good question. I am not sure what the answer is here. So we're gonna jot this down, and I don't want to give you the wrong answer. So we'll let you know. So if you can, Anna, please let me know your school information, or if you want, you can email ARP funds at elcbroward.org if you want to keep that maybe private to you and us, and we can actually look into your issue and find out what is the best way to proceed if you are going to close next month. Okay, so I cannot submit the application, only save. Okay, if you cannot submit the application and it's only asking you to save, that's because you miss one of the questions. So go back to the top and look at every single box and make sure, like for instance, I uncheck this box, make sure that it's not, whatever you see here is not red. Okay, if it's red, if anything is red, it will not let you submit the application, right? So if I uncheck this and I scroll to the bottom, all I have is save. Okay, so make sure that every single box is checked, and then you will be able to submit the application. If you've already received your second installment and 80 days pass, right, then you will get an email saying that you need to complete your third installment so we can pay you as soon as possible. Okay, do you have to be contracted with ELC in order to receive the grant fundings? You do not have to be contracted with the ELC to receive the grant. This grant opportunity was open to all child care centers in Broward County, pretty much across the state, because it's not just us that's doing this. The only other thing is, if you were not open prior to, I believe, again, my colleague, correct me if I'm wrong, prior to March 11, 2021, you needed to be contracted with the ELC. But if you were open prior to March 11, 2021, you did not have to be contracted with the ELC. Okay, Caroline, I spent more, okay? So if you spent more than what we've given you, so this is how this was explained to me by DL, but again, I don't want to confuse anybody, but bear with me. So if you spent more, right, because we are going to give you more money, right, that could be allocated as that, right? So let's say, for example, I give you an example again. You spent about, you received it, let's go back to my $90,000 example again, right? So you received 30,000, right? Now you receive 60,000. But let's say you spent $70,000, right? Because you borrow money or use the money from somewhere else. That's okay, because we still owe you another 30,000 if you still open, right? So when you report, if you were to report more than what we've given you, that means that at the last time when you are reporting, you cannot report more than what we've given you. It just have to equal to the whole amount we've already given you, right? Because we're only paying you what was approved. So you can, if you received if you were approved 90,000, you spent 120,000, it's fine, but we're only giving you $90,000, right? But if you received 60,000, you spent 70,000, that's okay, you can report that. But one thing I'm going to tell you is, whatever you report additional, that will also be part of the audit if we pull your file. So you need to let us know, where did that more go? What did you do with the more? And so on. So I hope that answers your question. Do we include teachers' payroll as an expenditure? I mean, it says personal benefits and costs. So yes, you can include that. If you all need to, just go to ELC. If you all need to get more information about the grant and what some of the things I'm talking about mean, there's still information here, and under ARP documentation, it tells you exactly in here, exactly what falls under each category, okay? This is it. Payroll, for example, payroll for owners, directors, payroll for employees, benefits, dental. Just make sure you read that. Make sure you have all that information handy when you are answering your questions. I see Zoom user, you've had your hand up for a little while. Do you have another question, or are you good? Okay. All right, hand down, perfect. All right, I'm not seeing the option to complete the third application on the ELC website. You are not going to see it on the ELC website. You're going to see it inside of your portal. And when you are logged into your portal, it's going to look something like this. You will get a pop-up. You will either get a pop-up or you will get a link that says ARPA round 1, installment 3. Now, some of you may not see that. You're going to see up to installment 2. That's because 80 days since we paid you, or since we approved your last application, has not passed. So you need to wait for that time to pass. So if you just, for example, if you just received your installment 2 payment or approval in August, right? You will not see the option for installment 3, okay? So wait a few more weeks and then you'll get the option for installment 3. the guideline for the grant. Yes, so Takesha, all of the guidelines are on our website. So just go to the page I just navigated to, right? It's called ARPA under providers. ARPA, I would advise every single one of you to read everything here. This is all important, and all of the previous demos we've done are here as well. So please read all of these. There's a lot of question and answers. Again, you can reach out to me. I'll do my best to answer your questions, but everything I'm speaking on right now is part of some of this information that you are seeing here. Can you repeat the email? Did someone type that email on here for me? Just so you know. Funds at ELC Broward.
It's there, Hubert.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay.
It's in
I
the
just
chat
typed
already.
it again just in case. Okay, so let's see. Can you repeat it? I think I did that. Payroll raises and bonus must go into which category? So go back. There is an option. I'm not sure if the person asked how you answer that question. There is an option that says workforce investment. Okay, which again, when I explained that the first time, this is money that you are given to your teachers, your people that associate to your centers. Like that's more than what you were already doing for your school, for your teachers. So for example, if you was paying them, just an example, $15 an hour. If you continue to pay them $15 an hour, that is not workforce investment. Okay, but if you were paying 15 and you say, you know what, because of your hard work and so on, I'm going to give you a bonus of $500 for whatever reason. That would be part of your workforce investment. So that's where you would add the information here. Okay, now everything else as far as payroll, as I stated here, it will tell you exactly what is considered part of your payroll and everything else. Thank you, Sandra, for writing this. If you increase $2 per hour per teacher, do you calculate $2 per hour, 40 hours? You can, yes, you can do that. That's part of, again, that's part of the amount. You just have to show us how, how in your books, you know what, I did $2 per hour per teacher, and you can show it, so on. And yes, that is extra. That's definitely extra. So that's good. Okay, thank you, Allison. All right, perfect. It looks like this is the end of our questions. Does anyone else have any questions for me? Sorry, I've been speaking a lot. I'm going to drink some water. All right, looks like
you're doing good. You're drinking water and you have your glasses on, so you're all good today.
Yes, Allison is the water police and the glasses police, if you did not know. So so she makes sure that I drink water and I have my glasses on because I have to drink water every day. So she knows that. All right. Any questions, concern? Okay, looks like we're doing really good. Looks like we didn't even need the entire time that we booked for you all. All right, Sandra, Christine, Howard, anyone would like to add anything? Amy, Allison, before we close out?
No, other than, again, we'll be, as you said before, I'm guessing we fully expect that there's going to be another application process coming soon. Again, we know this is the third and final round of ARPA round 1. We believe that they're going to, behind the dust bunnies in the DEL closet, they're going to find another couple of $100 million more to grant out to everyone. So, so there you go. So we'll let you know as soon as we know anything. If you haven't caught the theme, we tend to not know much until they, in the middle of the night, send it out to us. So there you go.
All right, perfect. So I hope we were able to answer all of your questions. Again, if you are in need of help, assistance, email us at opfunds@elcbroward.org, and I will do my best to answer you on the same day. And I know there's time I don't, but if I don't, that's because I have other things going on. I will answer you as soon as I can. I'll call you and make sure that you get the help that you need, okay? All right, everyone stay dry. Oh, Sandra, go ahead, Sandra.
Someone is asking where the sheet that you're showing right now is from our website. If you can just show them the path to get it.
Yes, sure.
That's easy.
So on our website, you just, let me go back to the home page here. So again, if you are, when you go to our website, that's on the welcome. So everyone knows what's going on. Let me just go to the main page. When you are on the main page, under providers, you will see at the bottom, you will see where it says American Rescue Plan Act. And that's where you will see every details, everything about the grant. And then once we're done with this recording, it will be posted here. We're going to try to maybe shorten it a little bit to kind of take out some of that airs, but it'll be on here as well. So you all can have it for reference if you have questions regarding some of the things that we talked about today. Thank you, Sandra.
I do have a
Oh,
question.
and Allison, thank you, Allison, for posting that in the chat. Yes, question?
How about in the rare case that you haven't even finished spending the first round? Let's say out of the 30,000, I only spent 20. I still have $10,000 left from the first one. Would it be any issue with that?
No, there's no issue whatsoever. Again, you can, all you have, the only thing that's going to be an issue is September 2023. So that's when it becomes an issue, right? But of course, you need time to spend the money. So do what you can, you know, with the money as soon as possible, but there's no obligation for you to spend it tomorrow, right? We know that,
Got
again,
it.
I've spoken to some provider who said they're waiting for more to give more bonuses. They're waiting for more because they want to upgrade their playground. They're waiting for more so there's different things that is happening. So whatever the case may be, we understand that. So we're not rushing you to spend it, but you do have to spend it before September 2023. And we don't want any of you to not spend it on time and, you know, get out of compliance with us at the office. We want to make sure you all spend the money, and because we know you all need it. So please try to spend the money as soon as possible.
Got it. Thank you.
And thank you, Sandra. Another question. If you have not spent any of it at all, that's okay too. But again, we'll let you know it's important that you spend it, because we don't want you to try to spend it last minute and say, oh, I forgot and I want more time. And we cannot give you more time. DL may be able to give you more time, but we cannot do more time. As you all know, we work with DL a lot of time, right? There are times we want to do certain things we can't because DL says we can't. So if you have not spent any of the money at all, please spend some of it on something, okay? Because we understand that some of you are waiting for more, which is fine. But if you if you just have it to the side, try to spend it as soon as possible. Jose, yes, the funds can be used to upgrade playground. Again, if we go to ARPA funds, there's stuff here that lets you know exactly what you can spend the money on. I think there's somewhere in here that talks about playground. Something in here that talks about that, but there's yes, you can spend it on playground. Again, the money cannot be spent on do like a whole renovation, but it talks about bathroom activities, outdoor, like all these appliances, like everything is in here. If you have concerns about what you can or cannot spend, well, it's this mainly tell you what you can spend the money on. Everything is in this sheet that I just pull up here. Okay, and if it's not here, then it's somewhere, right? The copay tuition, it lets you know exactly how to deal with that, and anything else that you may have questions with around any of the categories, right? That's on the application. Again, I talked about the workforce investment, talks about that, sign-on bonus for new staff, bonus for employees, owners, operators. If a licensed family home with no other employees, you can do that if that's your scenario. Again, increased retirement contribution, education or tuition reimbursement, all of that is part of it. Again, everything can be found on this page here.